Okay, so this is my training log for April 13th through April 19th of 2015. My average weigh-in for this week was 174.4, which is just slightly below where I was last week. February, I started trying to put a little bit more weight on, and I was right above 170 as my average weekly weigh-in. And now, being mid-April, we are at 174, so about 2 pounds a month, and I plan to stay probably between 174 and 177, and just gradually get heavier, maybe reaching upwards to 180, but I really don't feel comfortable once I get to about 180. As far as these low bar squats go, I was overall happy with how they looked and felt. I'm excited to do my workout on next Tuesday in my new wrist wraps, which are going to be a lot more supportive. With the low bar squats, what I've noticed is my depth is something I'm going to have to learn to really gauge well, because if I get too deep in the hole, I get an excessive frontal lean and kind of just good morning the weight up. Whereas if I don't get deep enough, I stay upright a lot better, but if you don't get deep enough, the squat's not going to be worth anything. So in that first clip, I think my depth was good, but I was also kind of getting into that good morning position. And then the second clip, I think my depth wasn't as good, but I was staying upright better. For my pause bench, I was happy with how everything went. I think my pauses were long enough that they would be good in competition. My reps were pretty clean as far as grindy goes. They weren't per se easy, but they all got up and weren't excessively taxing. I'm gonna shorten this clip, my bad. But my shoulder felt good. I'm just gonna continue doing a lot of external rotation work and working to um, rehab that, stretch it out, uh, and hopefully not see any more pain there. I don't know what the source of it is. I've quit doing my behind the neck pressing, and I think that's slowly helping the issue, but I think it's just a matter of time and making sure I'm taking care of my shoulders with all the pressing that I'm doing, since I'm pressing about 4 days a week. After my heavy compound powerlifting movements, moved more into some Olympic lifting movements. So this is me doing a push jerk motion. This was 140 pounds for, I believe I did one set of 9 and then 2 sets of 8, but I'm not positive about that. I really like this movement as far as just explosive strength and shoulder hypertrophy goes. Um, I would say it's different than the overhead press, but it's an effective lift nonetheless. You could also do a split jerk, but I just find with this that when I catch it overhead, um, the stabilization up top really stimulates my rear delt as well as my front delt, and I really enjoy this movement, and think it's solid. So next was hang cleans. I did 155 for sets of 3, I believe. Um, my main concern with these would be, I think it looks good, but I'm not catching it in a rack position very well. My two biggest struggles with the hang clean or power clean or clean in general would be not catching it in a proper rack position and catching it with my feet really spread. For deadlifts, this is 250 pounds for 7 sets of 5. Very happy with how these look. I think my neck looks good, my cervical spine area. I don't think I'm rounding. My hips aren't shooting up or anything of that nature. This weight wasn't overly taxing for me, but I was overall happy with how these looked, and just am excited to keep progressing with my deadlifts. For overhead press, I just got in some new wrist wraps, which are much more supportive. They're titanium wrist wraps, they're 24 inches, and I love them for low bar squatting, but they're definitely going to take some getting used to on my pressing. I just did 95 pounds for my 7 sets of 5 today, and it was honestly pretty hard. As you can see with that rep right there, they were pretty slow. I did get all 7 sets of 5, and I don't think I was bouncing at all. A little change of scenery. I went in Saturday morning to my school's older gym and did my 7 sets of 5 low bar squats again in my flats. I'm really happy with how these look, and uh, and really enjoying how the new wrist wraps I have feel much more supportive on my wrists. I think with the flat shoes, I hit depth better, personally, but I'm not sure if my frontal lean is going to become an issue because it definitely can play a role, and I don't want to get too far into that good morning position and miss a squat. Uh, but I think I'm hitting depth well, and these felt pretty good. I just felt really good squatting this morning. My old gym, the bars have a center knurling, whereas my newer gym, they don't. So I think that definitely plays a role in keeping the bar in position on my back properly. Also, I've been not completely tucking my elbows or completely flaring them out, but trying to find that good shelf position for the bar on my back. And I think I've been pretty successful at that so far. So I filmed my first, fourth, and seventh set here. So this would be my seventh set of 5. And like I said, these all look really good. I went in this morning. I usually go in Saturday afternoons, but I went in this morning without eating or anything, and just felt great. Was excited to be in the gym. Kind of had that mindset of put the headphones in and grind. That was really good, and then I had the whole day to go and enjoy. Um, so overall, I was really pleased with my squats on this day. Still not sure if I prefer the flats or the Olympic heels. Watching this footage, my depth is certainly better in the flat shoes. Next up, I did some dumbbell pressing. So these are 70-pound dumbbells, and I did these for 10 reps. The eighth rep, my left arm looks like it's going to give out, but I just kind of misgrooved the weight and almost lost balance, I guess you could say. Um, and most people probably would have quit there. I just continued going because I knew that my left arm was stronger than my right one, and it was just fluke. You can see right there. Um, so that would be my eighth rep. And then I just grinded out 2 more. Um, did kind of like a peak set, then backed off and did 65-pound dumbbells for a 1-arm dumbbell press for my next. I did 3 sets of 8 with the 65-pound dumbbell. This is a really good exercise for your accessory to your pressing. I think with the 1 arm, you can definitely feel a better contraction in your chest. Just with that, just I think you have a better focus. You also have to work to stabilize your core throughout the course of the movement because there is that counterbalance from the weight. Um, but yeah, I think this is an excellent mover as far as an accessory to the bench goes, and felt good throughout this workout. After my squats and 1-arm bench or 1-arm dumbbell bench, I did some conventional deadlifts really light for 4 sets of 6, which you'll see next. Somewhat of speed work, I guess. They felt good. I didn't wear a belt just to kind of make sure my core was being worked properly. But yeah, I'm really happy with how these look. After this, I did some incline dumbbell press, some arm work, and some ab work, and called it a day. Didn't do any cardio on this day, just because I don't really enjoy doing cardio on an empty stomach after having lifted. It's just a lot for me to try and focus through with no food in my stomach. So I personally don't do it on those days. This was my Sunday morning workout. Once again, just went in the morning without eating, and then I actually did cardio later in the day. For my power cleans, kind of the same thing as my hang cleans. I just did 155 for sets of 2 this morning, actually. Um, and the bar speed isn't necessarily bad, but I'm not catching it in that upright rack position like I would like to. My elbows definitely are tucked and then kind of come through, which would make it pretty hard to execute a full Olympic lift if you were doing like a clean and jerk or something of that nature. So as I increase my mobility and my strength, I need to work on catching a lower, more of a front squat position and getting my elbows up. So I backed off from the 155 and did 135 for a couple sets of 3. As you can see with the explosion, I can definitely catch it with my elbows up a little bit more. I'm still kind of bringing them through after the catch, so that's just going to be a matter of continually working at it and progressing. Next, I did one arm dumbbell shoulder press, which is a great accessory movement for the overhead press. Um, and then I did just some more shoulder accessories. Did some pause low bar squats, pause high bar squats, some front squats, and then my back and shoulder movements. Once again, I was training fasted this morning, so I didn't do my cardio afterwards. I actually went back, had some food, had lunch, did some homework throughout the afternoon. Then about 4:30, I went and jogged down and did some sprints at the high school down the road. So overall, really pleased with how this week went. Actually, kind of glad my body weight didn't change. I don't want it to shoot up too fast. Over the next couple weeks, if it continually drops little by little, I'll increase my calories by a little bit. But I don't really want to taper my cardio too much more. I'm doing about 3 days a week of HIIT, and I'd like to incorporate some more low intensity cardio. Not so much because I enjoy it, but just because I think it's the health benefits are there, and it's something that I personally want to stay engaged in. Um, Excited to hit the gym again this next week and hit some heavy 10 by 3s.